folks. It's Hobby Talk with PSA Canada for June 15th, 2023. Luke is on location in a parking lot somewhere. Brad is slowly boiling to death, and I'm highly entertained. Luke, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
And not too bad, not too bad. Aren't you glad, though, you're in a vehicle with air conditioning?
My vehicle's not on right now.
That's okay. The point is, though, Luke, if you needed it, you could turn it on and have air conditioning. That's the important thing. That's the key. Brad, how does it feel not to have air conditioning?
No, it sucks. You know what? It's funny. Last night I was watching, finishing up Ted Lasso season 3,
Mm-hmm.
and I forgot a friend of mine told me this too. Like, so in Europe, especially in Britain, like there's very very few places that have air conditioning.
That's right, yeah.
And Ted Lasso goes, one thing I learned about being over here in Europe, air conditioning is not a given right, or however you worded it. It was priceless. It was awesome.
There's a bunch of states in the South U.S. where, like, not necessarily, it's not the first thing to think about, even though, like, it would make sense. I go, you guys should think about that one a little bit. But anyway, it's just fun for me to have a little bit of fun at Brad's expense because it's like, that's been the condition in this condo for 9 years. I might be getting that resolved soon, but the point is for 9 years, I didn't have a choice in the matter, whether I wanted it or not. All right, so Alex here. What's up, everyone? Good evening. How are you? So we'll talk about a couple of, before I do, is there any updates or anything you want to give PSA Canada wise? Anything coming up here that we want to discuss?
Not really. We'll be set up at the show. Actually, yes, we will be set up at a show this weekend taking submissions.
Sure.
It's in Amherst, Nova Scotia. It's a smaller show,
Okay.
but it's put on by some good collectors and some submitters to PSA. So it's about a 2-hour drive from here.
Mhm.
So we're going up on Saturday. We'll be there all day, and he's done some good advertising for it. So we'll take in some submissions and have some fun. So we're just going to add that to the impromptu show calendar.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think that's fair. And I think it's going to be a couple like 2 weeks. 2 weeks where you get into the I think the AMG is going to have the show in about 2 weeks, give or take.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we can mention that again next week. So let me touch on a couple of these ones. So first, Anthony Sinclair. So I'm not familiar with this name. I prefer $15 grade with PSA Collect. That's 15. That's 15 US. Yes. Paying first and third party graders up here is foolish. Okay, then don't. No, but here's the thing. Then don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a good day. I don't understand the comment. I do understand it, but I also at the same time I say, okay, good to know.
Yeah.
For some people, it serves a function. We've talked about that before here. There is a use case for it, but if we're being completely transparent, for some people, they would rather submit it themselves and go through and do the whole thing themselves. Then my suggestion is do that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And the other thing is it's always funny about the HST comment. So technically, if you are sending them across and you're not paying any duties on that, it's illegal. You're getting away with it. You're not claiming that coming across because you're paying for a service. So, yeah, feel free. But honestly, if you submit direct to PSA, that's great, and happy for you.
Yeah, the option's always been available. Third-party graders are not a requirement for anybody. Even in the U.S., folks use third-party graders. For us, with customs and some of the other requirements, it creates some complications. But you still can totally submit on your own if that's what you want to do, and if that's what you like to do, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so real quick, we'll do Hockey 99 here. All right, and all my dealings with PSA Canada. How many dealings are we talking about? Can we get some order numbers? Hockey 99. There have been 0 blemishes. Well, it's good to know. I was disappointed to watch the show last week and see Brad proclaim that he didn't want off of the June special. We did actually explain why that was the case, but going on, that he felt it was forced on him. Well, now real quick, I want to pause just for a second. Brad, add some color to this because we talked about this before. The thing is that when you do one of these grading specials, we know there are specials generally every month, give or take. But at the same time, there's no real advance notice. It would be like it'd be one thing if it's like you get maybe a week or two ahead of time. You say, hey guys, so for the June special, it's going to be X. So figure out what you want to do. We want to make clear the relationship between PSA Canada and PSA is closer than it's ever been, but they're still operating as two separate entities. PSA makes whatever corporate decision it wants to make. It can do whatever specials it wants, but PSA Canada is not bound automatically to follow. At the same time, ideally, it's reasonable for people to ask because, hey, there's a grading special. We should do it. And then at the same time, but you don't have to do it and you don't have to follow it verbatim. But they also don't give you any advance notice anyway. So even if you wanted to follow verbatim, you have to then scramble to figure out like, okay, how can we do this? What's our margin? What can we do? Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of the other good advantages when we offer this as well, if you want to drop into any of our submission, if you're in the Edmonton area and you want to drop off directly with Luke, if you're in Ontario, you want to drop off with Kevin, you don't have the shipping expense added as well. Same thing as our PSA submission center here at AMG Collectibles. You can come in and drop off your order. We charge a flat $10 shipping fee on all orders. So if you came in to the shop, you dropped off your cards there, it's a $10 shipping rate, and you can save even more money. So,
Sounds good. Good evening, Bobby. KSA is a fourth party. At least they're a party.
yeah.
Yep. Anthony says there are no duties or shipping charges when you send cards to the PSA vault. That's kind of circumventing it, but you're right. No need to be rude about it. If you think that's rude, sir, you're the one who joined You're the one who joined a live stream about a topic you're not interested in. Just throwing it at you. Good evening, Jeff. But no, honestly, I'm not trying to be particularly rude about it. I'm just being honest about it. It's like, okay, yeah, you can. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you want to unlock specials, you can get a Collectors Club membership, which is a good idea if you're going to be submitting direct to PSA yourself.
100%.
That costs you another $150 Canadian on top of it. So,
yeah. And then for the 20 and for the minimum submission, so let me kind of add to what we said a second ago. For the minimum submission, PSA Canada was saying 40 when PSA is 20. And that is true. And my response to that would be because it's not really trying to encourage it. It's trying to say, hey, if you're a dealer, do it. Otherwise, we'd rather not do as many orders of the 20 minimum.
Yeah.
Is that off, or does that sound about right?
No, that's it. And the other thing we have to remember, as Collectors' only official agent in Canada, it does make a difference for us to support the group submitters that submit back to this. And I don't really get into this too much, but Hockey 99 has a good, he's asking a good question on it. Mm-hmm. So one of the things is I want to support the group submitters that submit to us. So when we have those minimums, it kind of, if there's people in local areas across the country that submit to the group bulk submitters that submit through us at PSA Canada, by us having the minimum 40, that helps things out. So maybe some guys will pool their orders together. It will make it easier for us. Or other guys, they might drop 5 cards off. They'll send 10 cards to Luke. They'll send 15 cards to Pascal. So if we keep the minimums higher, it kind of spreads it out and it allows us to support our bulk submitters that submit through us, who supported us from day one. And that's very important to me. So there's a lot of more logistics and moving parts besides just coming out. It affects a lot more people than just ourselves here at PSA Canada. We have to look at the big picture and make sure there's a little bit for each person involved.
Mm-hmm. But that's the reason why I also want to kind of emphasize that PSA doesn't ask for PSA Canada's permission to do what they're going to do. So when a special happens, you have to assume there's going to be a bit of a time delay there. That's why on the same day that they announce a special, PSA Canada doesn't immediately announce a special because there was no lead time. It would be nice if there was, and maybe down the road there will be. If there's a little more coordination, I suspect you'll get a tighter window, and maybe it'll get closer to matching dollar for dollar or deal for deal. But until then, it's still got to operate like a separate business. It's like the what we talked about when we do the discussion of the card shop with the distributor model. Because you're not getting it directly from the manufacturer, they're like, oh, why is there price variance? Well, it depends on what your distributor charged you for it, what their allocation was, if you had to buy it on the secondary market. If you're all on a level playing field and you're all paying the same, then yeah, the price difference is you're just being more greedy or less greedy than the other one, then you're right. But if you're paying different prices, then the margins might actually be the same, even though they're different price points.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird the way it operates. As deep as we want. And I like that you included N at the end. That sounds like algebra. I like it. That's the way it goes. So, Luke, anything interesting going on for you this past week, or just kind of same old, same old? How are things in your neck of the woods?
Same old. I mean, I got some stuff back today, whatever, which is great because, customers are asking about it.
Sure.
Yeah, I think also as well, some of the Edmonton stuff came back, like that was basically the last show that we did, and all the regular and value plus stuff has all come back. So that's been quick. Meets within that 45 days that we had. Mm-hmm. So yeah, working on that and getting that out. And
I like it. Sounds good. And I did the video already on my YouTube channel, but Brad was nice enough to send over this. So I added this. So
Finally.
the infamous card that we talked about. We'll probably save it for Friday, but I also got my hands on this. I actually did, as part of the video, open it up to grab the stuff inside. It was actually kind of fun to see the home team advantage and all that stuff from back in the day. A little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of classic times. Yannick here. Good evening, Yannick.
Hey, Yannick.
Barry. Good evening. First time watching everyone there live. Love it. Good evening, Barry.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good to have Barry join in.
Absolutely. Now I was going to say, I mentioned a little bit, I think, last week, and we'll kind of just talk through it. If there's anything you guys want to ask or talk about, feel free. It's kind of an open discussion. Right now, we're kind of in the dog days of summer for the hobby, because right now, like, stuff's going on. Let me actually touch on one story. It's kind of developing. It just started, but maybe I'll get you guys' takes on it. I'm kind of curious. Now, some people may use breakers, some people may not. But regardless, I'm sure you have an opinion. People usually do. Apparently, eBay is going to be cracking down and really breaking down. They're basically going to make select certain breakers that are going to be allowed to continue, I think, as of, I want to say July 18th. Don't quote me on that. I'll get the particulars exact. But I think somewhere in the middle of July, they're going to basically cut off breakers from using eBay to sell spots in their breaks. What the other parameters or details are going to be, we don't know yet. We're just figuring that out. It literally just came across the wire, so to speak, earlier today. But that means more than likely, most breakers who are right now doing breaks through eBay, selling spots in their breaks, may no longer be allowed to do so, and it's only specific ones that eBay designates, which means more than likely it's going to be the big guys. It's going to be, the big whales. And who knows if that has some integration with eBay Live. Wouldn't surprise me if it did. Again, don't have that as a definite, but it wouldn't shock me. It would make total sense. So just on the surface, eBay controlling and very much limiting which breakers are going to be doing in the platform inside of maybe about a month. Just high level thoughts, Luke. What do you think about that?
I don't know too much about that. I've never actually really heard it, but I know that
it was literally today. It was literally today. It just came across. So I'm giving you the basic details that we've got so far. We'll get more, but right now, high level, eBay has flat out said that they're going to cut down on the amount of breakers. They're going to have very specific, they said verified breakers, but basically they're choosing who is going to be allowed to continue to sell breaks on the eBay platform.
I think it's good.
I think it does. What I would say high level is that basically it means a lot of the small ones that maybe have shady pasts or maybe kind of show up and don't have any backing, it gets them out. Now, the murkiness of not knowing exactly what the criteria is, not knowing if there's any application process or where, because right now, based on the way they've phrased it, it feels like eBay's already decided who's going to get access to this, at least in the first wave or two. Beyond that, we'll see. That's what I mean. We're still getting the rest of the details, but on a high level, it sounds like eBay's already decided who's going to get the option to do this and who's not. So, Brad, just high level thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think you're going to see that happen on all the platforms. It's going to be a little bit of a role reversal here. I think you're going to see platforms are going to be going for exclusive deals, kind of like Whatnot did when they came onto the scene. But there's so many platforms now for people to sell on. So I feel like if you limit and you pick the select people that you have good relationships with, that can make your platform even stronger. And it could be good for all parties, for the consumer, for the breakers, and for the platform when you work together like that. Otherwise, if you don't, and it's just a free for all, you're not really going to focus in on anybody specifically. So I think it's a good thing, but I don't know how much breaking actually goes. Personally, I don't know how much breaking goes on eBay. I know I do see listings on there for breaks. I'm sure it's a select. The ones that I do see have probably been doing it for a while, and I'm sure they're going to be the ones that are selected. But I think it's a good thing. So.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll need a little more details.
I want to show my Barry as well. So I still have my my ComC dice.
Oh, ComC dice. All right,
anyway,
gotcha.
From Barry. So I just want to say thanks. I still got this, and I got my puck here somewhere. So
nice.
It stays close with me. Thank you.
There you go. I love it.
I have all three. Ishka.
Nice. Graded Cards Collector has a question here for you, Luke. Has Luke mentioned Disney or Lorcana yet? Not yet. I'm still trying to find pre-sale, not sold out. Does Brad have any connections? Brad, do you know a guy who knows who knows things?
Yeah, honestly, I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out. I know Kevin was Mr. Disney for a long time. I think Luke and him connected on a few deals. I know Luke was getting some in from overseas, I believe, without telling all your business. But I'm really not sure how it's going to play out. Obviously, we'd love to get some. I'd love to get some. Sherry really likes the Disney product as well, but I don't know. I'm lost when it comes to it.
I feel like it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be back channel deals right now. A little bit of shadiness.
Kevin says he's getting some, but how many? How much? I don't know.
Gotcha. All right, here. CC, good evening. Absolutely. CC says, just a guess, but for eBay to do this might be because they've had many complaints from buyers who break spots. I would agree with you, except they've been complaining for years. And eBay is historically not cared about complaints. They've made a lot. Look, eBay is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. This isn't a controversial take. There's a lot of us who, if we didn't have to use eBay because that's where the stuff is, it wouldn't be our first choice. If you're selling on eBay, it's miserable. If you're buying on eBay, it's annoying. So like no one is actually happy with the platform all the time. There's usually a couple of little quirks, little thing. The authentication program, it's good in a way, but another way it's annoying. It's inconsistent. You get weird things back from it. And like the way every time eBay does something, they've got so many resources that they try a lot of stuff. Like eBay, like I said, my theory is that I feel like this is a way of funneling people into eBay Live. And maybe to Brad's point, maybe part of the vetting that they're going to do is they're going to reach out to the ones who are going to be eligible to keep breaking on the platform. And they're going to say, yeah, you got to use eBay Live. If you want to stay, you're invited, but you got to use eBay Live, not Whatnot. You can't use the new Fanatics one, the Fanatics Live that they're trying to do. This is a theory. I'm merely posing this as a possibility. This could be a way of eBay saying, do you want access to, a platform to be able to do that? Then these are our terms if you wish to do that. That could be a way to funnel them into the ecosystem and say, oh yeah, use that, use the vault, eBay vault, use this. You do all that, then we'll make this available for you. That's the question. Yep. And it's just a theory right now. We'll get more information, but I am curious what that's going to look like. PSA Canada repping the territories. You got the one guy?
Yeah, I don't have anyone that's ever reached out to me. So yeah, I'd love to have somebody in the territories, but if someone reaches out, we could happily place someone there.
I think the person in the territories would be submitting for themselves.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people in the Northwest Territory. In fairness, the Northwest Territory has changed. When I was a kid, the Northwest Territory was a lot. Now we have Nunavut as well. So we got to break it into pieces. Yeah. There's a couple of components to it now. That map line has moved a couple of times. Bobby says dice are good for guessing the grade by a fourth party. There you go. I like it. Okay, Hockey 99 is either on delay or do we get still talking about the levels of group submitters? It's like we need N. N is the level we're going with.
Yeah. I think Hockey 99 should drop in and see me sometime, and I can explain the whole landscape of what's happening with PSA and PSA Canada.
Could you bring charts? Can you film this? I want charts.
I would love to do that. I would love to be able to do that. And if he drops his cards off to me, he has free shipping to and from PSA. He just has to drop the cards off to me. He or she. Sorry, I shouldn't.
We shouldn't assume.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can do that next week, eh?
Yeah. There you go. So Eric here. Bobby and I are starting our own breaking group. 2 grumpies breaking. Bobby seems like a pleasant fellow. I feel like it's one grumpy and Bobby. Just throwing it out there. Good evening, Eric. And by the way, we'll celebrate Eric more tomorrow. Eric has done, I don't know if you guys were paying attention. Eric has done something that I didn't think was possible. He had a nearly perfect bracket. Got every single one wrong. Wrong. Could not have been more wrong. Literally all you had to do to make a ton of money was whatever Eric said, bet on the other guy. All the way through the Stanley Cup final. It was sensational. It was next level.
I think I got stumped because of Boston, right? So.
Well, but that was only the start, Luke. Every round he got it wrong. All the way through the final. Every round he screwed it up. It was amazing. I enjoyed it. I was just like, as soon as the man said that Florida was winning the Stanley Cup, I'm like, congratulations, Vegas. And he kept talking it up, and I was like, Vegas in 3? What? Almost. There we go. Hockey 99 is from the territories, baby. The Hockey 99 can submit. Good evening, James. Good evening, Doug. Breakers should get a gaming license. Yes. And you should submit it from the territories. Nice.
Just what we need. More regulation in our lives.
I think as long as it's just one regular in the territories, I like it. And he's got to walk it down. I think that'd be awesome. I think we should do that. Listen, I'm in favor of it. Whatever.
Luke will go there. Luke will fly anywhere. He'd be happy to go.
The problem, Lucas, is there's only one plane, and it only goes one way. You got to take the dog sled back.
Hey,
I would
that'd be an
love. I'd
adventure.
love to go. Would you?
Oh,
Did
it
you
would
ever
be an
go there?
adventure. Yes, it would be an adventure. Yes, I'll send you the camera. We need content. That right there is content, sir. It's content. So we'll see. But it kind of goes back to what I've said the last couple of weeks. I have fun with the hobby, man. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you guys come up with whatever you want to come up with. I'll once we figure it out and what the details are, we'll adapt and we'll figure it out. We'll have some fun with it. I mentioned last week I was starting to have some fun, and we joked about. I think it was. I want to say that for you, it was what RG3. I think was the bad quarterback. You're trying to get some cars up.
Yeah.
Brad, I'm starting the greatest Josh Rosen PC right now that has ever existed. And by that, I mean the only Josh Rosen PC that currently exists. Everybody else who has any doesn't want to. Although some of these eBay sellers, though, they're stubborn. I'm like, do you understand no one else wants this? I want it for ironic purposes. I want it for personal entertainment purposes. But it's like, this stuff isn't worth anything. No one else wants it. What are you doing?
There's lots of stuff that I see on eBay like that I want that has been on my list for a long, long time. Some stuff even at ComC as well that has been listed there with a big price on it.
Right.
And it's worth about 10%, of what that's listed for. Right. And I really want it. And I've been patient. I've been waiting and waiting. I don't know when you can, but I know I've sent as many offers as I could, and it expired. I hit my maximum. And then all of a sudden now I just, on one of the cards, it's been up there for like 3-4 years now.
Yeah.
And I've been trying. So I think maybe every year you can send more offers again.
I thought it was when the original, like if you do a buy it now best offer. So if you do a buy it now best offer, it's 30 days. I thought when the 30-day cycle ended and it recycled, I thought you could do it after the 30 days.
Okay, well maybe that's it. Because I sent this guy more offers and he just declines me every time. Oh well, I'm going to keep on doing it.
Well, look, listen, I appreciate standing on your principles. Like I think that's cool. But I looked at a couple of them and I made like an offer, and the guy would make like a counter offer, and I'm sitting there like, there's literally no one behind me. There's nobody in line. It's like. Honestly, I could offer even less. Like I'm not competing. I'm not bidding against anybody. There's nobody to bid against. I was like, hey, have at it, man. Hang on to it as long as the ones that I'm interested in, Brad. I'll be 100% honest with you, because 2018 had the full complement of products, and it had a lot of different Panini products. I like Spectra. Spectra was one that I like. It's not a great product in terms of a lot of stuff, but I like the card. They're thick cards. They got a lot of nice designs and stuff. But again, the guy is literally unemployed. The guy's sitting on his couch right now. He doesn't have a job. It's like the future is not looking bright. This young man may need to go to young man may need to practice. Do you want fries with that? That's what he needs to be starting to do. Like it's looking bleak. As I was like, guys, if I'm willing to give you any money for it, you might just want to take it. This might be the best deal you're ever going to get. At least get it off your hands and get something for it. The one that interests me though, Brad, is a lot of the they've got a lot of the vinyl 1-of-1s. And I think they're neat looking cards. But for me, it's like, okay, and here's a kind of an intellectual exercise. What do you do if you're building a collection of something mostly for your entertainment, and you've got 1-of-1s, and they're 1-of-1s, but like no one else wants it? So it's like, so what's it worth? And it's the classic story of like, okay, so what's it worth? Like, but in open market, what would it be worth? I have no idea. I don't think anybody else would be bidding. So like if you started at 99 cents, I'd probably win it for 99 cents, but they're not going to do that. So the question is, what kind of a deal would you come to? Like what price point would be acceptable to you to be like, look, this is entertaining for me. I'm still interested from an entertainment perspective, but there's a limit of how much I'm willing to spend on this type of entertainment.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's true.
So I have no idea. I don't know. After those offers, a trap to being taken back room, maybe.
Well, do you know who I'm actually? If you want to come tomorrow, I'm meeting my buddy to give him some prizes for his auction that he does every year down in Antigonish. And and I think I told, probably on the Friday night show. Anyways, this is a trivia question that if anybody besides Dougie, because I know Dougie Lowthers is in the chat, see if anyone can answer it. I'm meeting tomorrow my friend who is in the history of professional hockey. He is the all-time penalty minute leader in the history of professional hockey.
Yeah, you made a distinction. You're not saying NHL. You said professional hockey.
Professional hockey. So
right. Okay. Interesting.
So
Interesting.
that's Hockey 99. He could be waiting for you in the back row.
Yeah. The best part is,
Oh.
you ever seen like The Simpsons? Did Rod get it?
Yeah. Right out of the bat.
Nice. All right.
I
All
knew
right.
Dougie would get it right away, but
All right. All right. There you go. Nicely done. Nicely done.
he's
But
the head scout for Boston. Actually, this is good for Eric. Bonvie is currently the head scout for the Boston Bruins.
so you're saying, though, since he's the leading penalty guy in professional hockey, you're saying we could get Bonvie to fight Eric?
100%.
I see. Like, Luke, I'm thinking pay-per-view right now. In my mind, I'm already like thinking this is like this is gonna get top billing. We can get a pay-per-view out of this. All right, so Staggy Joel here says, and good evening. I bought an 0809, be a player, dual signatures Malkin and Marc-Andre Fleury, BGS 9 Auto 9. Search the certificate number. It's the only one graded with BGS. I have fulfilled my dreams of collecting a 1 of 1. There you go. If nothing else, you got an eBay 1 of 1, a pop 1, so you got something. There you go.
It's
Congratulations. Average Joe card collector. There's always people who PC something. That is true. Apart from the player, I met a guy that PCs any numbered card, any 13 out of anything. Okay, I like that. That's an interesting little. He's right though. I 100% agree with this. Like I said, I'm being a little bit facetious. There is somebody out there who will buy it, but I'm saying the market is limited. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying the market is limited. I'm saying I really don't need to beat off too many people with a stick. It's a situation where like I'm interested, but I'm interested at like an entertainment price. And the problem is, if you're, I could sympathize if you're a dealer or somebody who maybe pulled it back in the day, thought, oh, I'll hang on to it, it'll be worth something someday. And right now, the dude is sitting on his couch waiting on beside the phone to get a call for, and it's like, dude, maybe you need to go to the XFL, the CFL, the USFL. Just go somewhere. I said this to a buddy the other day. Like, if I was in his shoes and I was advising him, I'd tell him to go beat down the door of the CFL, XFL, and USFL teams, get onto a roster. Become the starter, get some game tape. If you think you can play and you think you've got a chance, get out there and just get some game tape. Just do it. I don't think you're going to get too many of these cases, but here's the thing. You even got a movie out of it. Kurt Warner was basically out of football, but he had one more shot at the arena, and he ended up getting back to the NFL and ended up having a Hall of Fame career. That's the extreme. It's not, in that situation, you get a movie made about you, but there is totally a world in which you can get back to the NFL and at least get a job holding a clipboard. Like, there's totally a world where that can happen.
That's good.
He's a friend of the shop, but he didn't say friend of you, Eric.
You know
wanted
what?
to fight you, not the shop.
This is great. Now that I know that, I'm going to be telling Bonvie to go in, and he might just have to see Mr. Eric on a few occasions.
It's like all of a sudden Jersey gets pulled over. Boom, boom. Cyclocross is not a sport, Eric.
Well, I'll give you this is a quick one, but my favorite Bonvie story is we were at his golf tournament, and I bought a brand new pair of golf shoes, and they were white. And I pulled them out, and he kept staring at them. He was like, "Those brand new." I said, "Yeah, I just bought them." And he goes, "Like, do you mind if I see that for a second?" I said, "No problem." And he took my shoe, and he had a Sharpie, and he wrote all on the side of my shoe. He signed it, his autograph, Dennis Bonvie. And then on the other side, he put Pims 5,135 all-time leader. So for the day, I had to walk around my brand new golf shoes. We're now officially, some can say, ruined. I thought it was great after the fact, but yeah, he bullied me.
There you go. I played with Caden Korchuk, which was listed as a player that won the Cup in Vegas this year. Hype for him. Nice. Awesome. The best is a decline with no reason. Yeah. I think though, look, part of the reason, there's 3 quarterbacks in that 2018 class that interest me. I'm isolating Rosen right now because right now he's the one on the couch unemployed. However, Sam Darnold is like not far from that fate right now. He's still, I think he's in training camp. I want to say with San Francisco, like he's trying to get a backup job in San Francisco. Never know, maybe he can. And Baker is like on his last chance with Tampa. So like by the way, those 3 guys, Baker was 1st overall draft pick, Darnold was 3rd overall, and Rosen was number 10. And Rosen had a great, cold take exposed meme thing. He said, 9 mistakes were taken before me. They're going to regret it. I'm paraphrasing. And I'm like, well, that didn't age well. Did not age well. But I like the confidence. Brad, I like the confidence. You got to believe. If no one else believes in you, you got to believe in you, Brad.
I agree.
He fought Brashear twice in the A, got kicked out and was signing autographs at the intermission. Classic. Good stuff, Rod. 51, 57 penalty minutes, or 85.95 hours. I like that he put into hours. Thank you, Doug. So you're saying Brad still has a shot? Perhaps. I've never met him. Maybe you will soon.
It's funny remember when Sidney Crosby did an interview on Spit and Chicklets about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and he talked about his first year, how he got 102 penalty minutes in his rookie year, and he's like, "Yeah, I played pretty good." And they're like, "Yeah, how many of those were 10 minutes?" I think he had like 10 minutes for shooting off to the refs. The boys were giving him a hard time. It was great.
Hey, if you don't, who will? But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting with some of these guys. I think the reason I said I think those three guys are going to be the ones that are going to end up being, unfortunately, the busts, because Josh Allen is playing well in Buffalo, and Lamar is an MVP. Yeah. So both out of that quarterback class, there were 5 quarterbacks that were identified in that first round, and right now 2 of them are still playing and have a job and are getting paid well, and the other ones are 2 of them are hanging on to the fringe, and one of them sitting on the couch hoping for a phone call. So we'll see. We'll find out. So fortunately, Luke is disconnected, so he's off. So we'll have to catch him later. His phone locked up. Wow. Okay. There you go, Brad. Apparently, Luke's phone needs to cool down.
It needs to cool down. It was too hot.
Look, check your phone. He sent a picture. That's a great photo. I love that. I love it. It makes me laugh.
That's awesome.
All good, Luke. All good, Luke. Anyway, but so 2 things. We're going to keep it, like I said, we're going to keep it kind of general tonight, and it's really open-ended to what you guys want to chat about. But let me ask a question since I brought up the general topic. I know Brad's got a million collections. We talked about this anyway a little bit. But do any of you collect anything that's a little bit off the beaten path? Do you collect maybe more for entertainment than anything else? Maybe not your favorite team, maybe not necessarily your favorite player, but it's more like you just find some entertainment value out of it. That's kind of a question I asked a couple weeks ago, but I'm using that Josh Rosen thing. Right now, the challenge, Brad, is I'm trying to get the best stuff that in 2018 would have been an amazing pull. That's what I want. I want the stuff that is really tough, but I refuse to pay like good money. Right. I want to get it like as dirt cheap as possible. But in 2018, if you had pulled this and like sold it right away, you would have been like, "Oh man, great job," because it was one of the top quarterbacks that year.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and it's fun. Like when I did that with the RG3, like I just thought about it that time, and I'm like, "This is great." I actually today we got back a whole bunch of cards from the PWCC Vault. So with my doing work going forward with Golden Auctions, I thought it would be, and which is owned by Collectors, I thought it would be a good idea to move my collection from there to the Vault, to the Collectors. The Collectors Golden Vault. Okay. So, anyways, all the stuff from PWCC came back, and we got it, and I got my stuff. Sherry got a bunch of her stuff. So it was very fun tonight. I just was opening the boxes to go through, and I've been a big, I said about vaults from an insurance standpoint to hold the items, and you can see them online. Mm-hmm. But there really was something about having it all back now and going through and having your cards in hand. It was really good. So one of the things I looked at is I started to say, I have to cull the collection again. Like I have to start to move some other stuff. I just have too much stuff per se. And I looked at it and I'm like, I love collecting the non-sport right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, do I need to have like the 64, 65, 66, 67 Topps hockey sets? I started to think that I'm going to move a couple of those. And then the RG3 popped up, the Jason Momoa autograph, Hayden Panettiere autograph, like all this stuff. And I'm like, this is the stuff that I really enjoy right now. So I think I'm going to start to move some of the other stuff and collect more of, the oddball items and like you said, just what you're doing with the quarterback. I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And like, look, going through it's and Barry was here earlier tonight. ComC has been good for me for that stuff because I go find it. It's like, all right, which one of y'all are desperate enough to fire sale this thing? Let's go fire sales.
Yeah.
Brad, I want to get a 1 of 1. I want to get the cheapest 1 of 1 ever. I'm going to figure out a way. I just got to find the right thing and I'm going to make it happen. And I'm focusing on his rookie year. I want to see, I don't want his Miami Dolphins stuff. I don't want where he tried in the other one. I want to see if I can get the stuff from 2018. Again, in 2018, had you pulled it, it would have been like, oh man, you did great. Now it's like, oh, I sold it to Carlos for $1.
You know what? I should get your thoughts on this. So as we know, my 1617 O-Pee-Chee Orange Platinum.
Sure. By the way, average Joe card collector, I appreciate what you did there. I like that you have a theme. I like that he's got a theme. Well played.
So, like the Braden points, I have 8 of the 15 now.
Okay.
So these were issued in 2016, 17
Mhm.
in these boxes.
Okay, the bottom. Yeah.
That's where you pulled them.
Mhm.
On Facebook, someone sent me a clip of a Braden. They received one of the orange platinum Braden points within the last week or two
Mhm.
from Upper Deck as a replacement for a redemption. So these were put out in packs in 16, 17.
Mm.
Upper Deck still there's 50, they're numbered to 15. There's 15 of them. So did Upper Deck hold back a certain amount of the 15 of these? Because Braden
I would think so, yeah.
So Braden Point signed these and they were issued in packs.
Hmm.
So like I get why usually the redemptions are players that hey they weren't fulfilled or sorry the player didn't get them back in time, they had extras and they hold them back. This one
Did they that year, Brad? Did they have EPAC?
No, sorry, that's what my question was to you because I know you know more about that than I do.
What year is it again? What year is it
16,
again?
17. I don't
I
think
feel
so.
I feel like maybe though, because I wonder what year they actually started EPAC. Because 16, 17 would have still been recent enough that I would think possibly.
Yeah, that's
because
something I
I'm
wanna-
thinking EPAC stock because they actually have to make the cards, and if any of them were held for EPAC, then at this point you wouldn't be buying 16, 17 platinum on EPAC, so that wouldn't be available to you.
Right, but that's a long time ago just for him to get that redemption within the last 2 weeks.
Well, I think it's obvious that we blame Billy.
Yeah, we're
The
gonna
way thing
figure
to
out-
do is like I know exactly where I'm going to put the blame, Brad. I know exactly where I'm going. Doug here says Simon Nolet collector. Nice. Nice.
Yes, he is.
Eric says good day to you. So Brad, what are your thoughts on the poorly run CB Eagles franchise? I don't know what that is, so you'll have to fill in the blank.
It's a Cape Breton Eagles Quebec Major Junior League team.
That is oddly specific. Okay.
Yeah.
Why do we care about the CB Eagles?
I'm not really sure about. I know obviously they're in a smaller market than a lot of their competitors, so it makes it more difficult. But of all the people I know that played in Cape Breton personally, from Fleury had a great career there. Stevie Dixon was there for a while, absolutely loved it. My everyone enjoyed being in Cape Breton, and they had a great time playing there. So I don't really know. Can they be run better? Maybe I don't know.
I think it's obvious to me, bringing full circle, the person that they need to bring in to help run it, Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen, there you go.
He's available. I'm sure he can help. It couldn't hurt.
But it's hard. You look at all the junior teams, especially across the country. I mean, it's such big business now. Geez, the Mooseheads just sold for 30 or 40 million. You know what I mean? Like that's big dollars, right? So you see it when you're in a good market and you have arena and you get the fans. It's hard for small market teams, which is to me the core of what junior hockey was, to compete anymore. Like when I played in Beauport, our rink held 1,100 fans. We'd pack that thing; they'd be hanging off the rafters. But that was it. 1,100 fans. We played against the Mooseheads in the playoffs. You come down here and they have 10,000 in the building. So somehow to protect some of these franchises, I'm sure they probably do. I'm sure there's some sort of profit sharing or there's probably something that goes on within the league to help some of these small markets out. I hope there is anyway. So,
fair enough. Seems reasonable. What I was going to say was just getting a lot caught up here and just checking all the chat again, just making sure. Yeah, I think we'll have to see what I think part of what was giving me a little bit of trouble earlier, and that's kind of what I was alluding to a little bit earlier, is like since the Stanley Cup's over, NBA Finals is over, it's like, all right, we're kind of in a lull. It's like baseball's in mid-season. I won't tease your guy. We'll let him off the hook tonight. But like the struggle is real right now. We're just kind of like, yeah, stuff's happened. Even like I said, the eBay thing, we'll see. We'll see how that one plays out. But I was like, I need more information. So like I can bring it up as a discussion point, but it's just a starting point for discussion. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. There was a specific question that I was going to ask you. Again, I'm going to blame Billy, and I'll tease him later for this. But WWE Revolution is actually supposed to be released tomorrow. Just out of curiosity. So did you guys actually get the shipment or not yet? I guess we're getting the Canadian delay because tomorrow's supposed to be the release date. Yeah,
we definitely did not get that this week. So I know it was a bunch of Pokemon retail products, Upper Deck Ice.
Hmm.
And
What do you think about Upper Deck Ice, by the way? I've seen some breaks. Thoughts?
You know, one thing that I did like to see right on
Okay.
the box, I seen a picture of a box, and it says right on it, all autos are hard sign, right in the front. So maybe if you can grab a clip of that somewhere,
Mhm.
let me see if I can find it. But I like that. So no sticker autographs in a product. That's a big plus for me. So,
Sure.
but itself, I seen someone pulled a Someone sent me a picture of a Crosby auto that was a beautiful looking card.
Mhm.
But my O-Pee-Chee Platinum is coming out. Yeah, O-Pee-Chee Platinum is next week.
Okay.
But I think, my favorite Upper Deck product now that I'm starting to really, really like is Stature. From a price point, from the look of the cards, I'm a big fan of Stature. Hopefully it will continue to get some more interest from people.
Here's
That's
gonna be the
how-
question. So let me kind of tag on two questions. That's why I wanted to. Like I said, I was trying to remember what I wanted to get in, and I wanted to talk about some of the current and recent products that
Yeah.
are coming out here. The whole delay thing is going to be interesting. The Revolution thing is going to be interesting because that's the first year that the WWE product is going to have kabooms in it. So you can pull a kaboom of the Rock. The first Rock kaboom has been pulled because some people opened it ahead of the date that they're supposed to be getting it. It's already been pulled. One of them.
Okay.
Now the good news is it's not a one of one or anything. There are more, but that is the first one to get pulled. So we'll see. We'll see how that one starts to do, and a couple of the other ones that are going to come out here. But with some of these other products, I've been watching a lot of the breaks. Some of them, Ice, and some of these other ones. And the next part that I'm kind of curious about, though, is I feel like we've seen a lot, and I'll get to Graded Card Collector's comment here in a second. But the thing is, I feel like a lot of grumpiness at the configuration of the Upper Deck product. So you kind of brought up Stature, and I think Stature's a nice product. I just feel like right now the sentiment, I'll just outline it as a sentiment. The sentiment is it feels like there's a lot of product dilution, like in terms of what's actually in the boxes, and people are pulling it versus the value. Like the O-Pee-Chee Platinum, I think it's too expensive per box. I think for what it is, it's too expensive. Like I think it's what 250 ish higher.
Yeah, it'll be somewhere between $250 and $300
Yeah,
a
that's
box.
way too high. Like that's way too high. Like it's not ridiculous. Ice is not cheap. SP Authentic wasn't cheap, and that was and there. It's hit and miss. Every product is hit and miss. To be fair, every product, but it just feels like you're paying more for even more hit and missness. So when you miss even worse than before, and when you hit, you barely hit. So the victories are not outweighing the defeats, and the defeats are even more devastating. So I feel like it's kind of the worst of all worlds, and it just feels like there's more product. And again, we're getting 21, 22 product. Again, we're not up to current day. It's still all delayed.
And does Ice have two? Is Ice a double rookie class? Someone was explaining this to me last week.
I feel like I thought it was update cards. I'd have to look at the checklist, but I thought it was update cards.
Right. I'm going to look at that. Okay, I'll come back to that.
Yeah. I'll quickly read Graded Card Collector's question. Well, if Brad does get some Lorcana, do you guys want to do a live box opening? I'll pay for the box so you can break it. Hey, we appreciate it. You're eager for the Lorcana. Fair enough. I get it. Okay, let me ask the chat this question. Is there anything that's recently come out that you guys are even looking at that you even want to break? Oh, here we go. There's a 2021 bonus pack on top. There you go. Thank you, Rod. I knew there was a thing with... so they're putting a bonus pack in for the product that was never released. That's what it was.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so that's what it was. So that's how you get to it. And by the way, as a result of the delays, the Jason Robertson Ice premieres or whatever is a $9.99. Yeah, it's not other $99.
Out of $9.99?
$9.99. Yep. Good news is you can get it more commonly. It's more available. That's the good news.
Mm-hmm. So it's 20. So you get 2021 as a bonus pack, but all the other packs are 21, 22.
Correct. Yep.
Gotcha.
Clear as mud.
Well, that's kind of cool. It's nice to have a bonus pack. I mean,
Well, it's not really a bonus pack, Brad. We didn't get 2021 Ice. So they're like basically like, hey, you guys didn't get it, so here's a pack inside the box. Yeah. We're trying to create value. Listen, I try because, like I said, I'm friends with some of the folks that do some of the stuff. I try not to give them too hard a time, but right now, the struggle is real. I'm not the one opening the product, so I'm not paying for it. I'm watching the breaks, and I'm like, ooh, that would hurt. Ooh, I don't know about that one. That's rough. So it's like, all right, y'all do you. Somebody's got to do it because I don't want to have to. And also, I want to be able to get the singles. But I got to be honest with you. Personal issue. I'm getting tired of Medano being included in so many of these sets. And then they short print like the autographs. And I'm like, guys, I actually don't like paying a lot of money for the autographs. I get irritated. Oh, it's going to be like $100. Why? Medano has like 2,000 autographs. Like 2,000. And they used to be like 20 and $30. Mm-hmm. And then every time they release a new product, oh, it's like $100. Why? Oh, they're the set collectors. I know you're idiots. Yeah. I don't even know. Brad, what are your thoughts on Iron Sheik cards? Oddly specific. The Iron Sheik.
Well, I know he passed away last week,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Is there a run on Iron Sheik cards now?
Well, there's always, when somebody passes away, there's always a run.
Yeah.
I will say there are some fun. He was able to sign before he passed away. He was able to sign, I want to say Immaculate. He was able to sign a couple of the Panini sets, and there's like a Hogan Iron Sheik dual autograph that I think is really great. Which, by the way, thematically, if you know, Hogan beat the Iron Sheik to start his big title run in WWE to get him going. You know, WWF then, the Rock and Wrestling Collection, all that stuff in the 80s. Bob Backlund was the longtime champion that Iron Sheik beat, and then Iron Sheik was the transitional champion to get to Hogan. So Iron Sheik is very relevant to the history of that company because he was the champion who held the belt. Hogan beat him and then ran with it, and then he stayed champion for like 3 years, and that's what launched that era of Hogan and WWE and the rest of everything else that would come after. So yeah. Iron Sheik is a very important part of this story.
And you know what? I don't have. Do you have any of those? Like the 82
All-Stars? No,
guys?
I do not.
No, either do I, and I never really did. I think I might have owned at some point. I'm sure I owned a few of them. I don't think I ever owned the Hogan card or the Andre the Giant or the Sheik because I probably would have kept it. But
the only one I really wanted is the Ted DiBiase. Maybe the Jake Roberts. Because those are some of my favorites. If Macho Man had been in it, that'd been awesome, but he wasn't in that one. So
there's something I might do at some point is try it, but the price would have to come down. I think they're so expensive now. It's not something I'm interested in paying that much money to have. So I'll stick with my 85 and 87 and Humpty Dumpty Hostess sticker set, which I love.
Yeah. But that's kind of the problem, Brad. In a nutshell, it's not that it's not interesting. It's like, but it's just too expensive for what I want it for. So that's like, I don't care what the market says. You guys want to pay that? That's fine. I don't want to pay that.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then I'm not going to. Rod says every box comes with a complimentary ice pack. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Rod. All right, Brad, what's your favorite card company in 2023?
Well, I'm a hockey guy, number one, so it's the easy answer.
You don't have a choice.
It's easy answer. It's Upper Deck.
Oh, come on. You could pick Leaf.
Yeah.
They have hockey cards.
You know what? I do like a lot of Leaf products. I wish they would sell for more in the secondary market. I kept thinking, I remember back 7-8 years ago, I was like, these are going to catch on. They're going to catch on. But unfortunately, I don't think it is. I just think there's that niche market for them. And it's great. It's a great product for collectors to buy. I don't know how many. I probably have a dozen or so Leaf cards that I really enjoy. So, but that's it. So Upper Deck because I'm a hockey guy.
There you go. Good evening, Dave. Our collector's universe going public eventually, probably. My guess would be eventually. When? No idea.
Yeah,
but I would expect they would.
That would be my guess as well.
Mm-hmm. Average Joe Card Collector. What product has the Rock Kaboom? The WWE Revolution, the 2023 WWE Revolution. U.S. stateside, it's supposed to come out tomorrow. Some people have already opened it. People are doing it right now. The Rock Kaboom's already been pulled, one of them. But there's more. I think the checklist is like 20 cards for the Kabooms, so they've got a number of them. And they're the first wrestling Kabooms, so that's going to be significant for certain characters and stuff. I'm sure the first Rock Kaboom that goes for auction will go for good money. But it's not like their cards are limited, but they are available. There will be copies available. But the first one will probably go for crazy money.
I hate saying it, but I do agree with Eric on this one. I'm just not a fan of the Kabooms. Mm-hmm. You know, I know a lot of people love them. It's just personally not a fan of them. I don't own one, and I can't really see me ever owning one.
I think the thing is that the only thing that really stands out about them is the pattern, and the pattern is available to everybody. Like I gave the story, but when I was chatting with Billy, he literally showed me the swatch book that the Kaboom is on. By the way, it's called Kaboom. That's how they came up with the name. It's very clever. But the thing is that when they did their AEW, the inaugural AEW product, that kaboom pattern is actually one of the parallels. It's the literally, I think it's the dynamite parallel. The dynamite parallel is the kaboom pattern. It's the exact, and you get it on all those parallels. So like it's fully available. So now it's just what do you want? Eric's always about the opposites, man.
I love it. I love it.
You should have said you love Boston Bruins cards, and then he'd have to burn his house down. Dave says, "Are there any Russian or Slovak Czech hockey cards produced for those leagues?" I assume when you're saying those leagues, are you talking about wrestling? Oh, sorry, hockey cards produced for those leagues. There are definitely there are KHL cards. I haven't seen a ton of them, but I know there's some out there. They're not easy to get, obviously. On this side of the pond, we don't get them, but I've definitely heard of them. And historically, there have been. If you remember back in the '90s, there was Semic, had a bunch of cards and stuff, mostly international. They did like for the different world championships and stuff. But they've definitely made. There've been KHL cards for sure. I'm pretty confident at the expo there was a dealer who came and brought imported stuff from like the Swedish Elite League and stuff like that. I've definitely seen it, and I'm pretty sure Collector's Choice did like Upper Deck did some regional stuff for Sweden or maybe Finland or a couple of them. Like, so I'm pretty confident there's been a bunch.
Yeah.
So that'd be best answer. But again, I'm going from memory, and I'm certainly no expert. Brad, ever consider any special with PSA Canada 30 submissions free? Absolutely. Come on down in person to Brad's, and ignore the trap door. And when Brad pulls the thing, that's how you get a free submission. Eric says, I love kabooms. Yes, you should. I think that's why kabooms actually work. I think it was Billy who said something that's made for everybody is actually made for nobody. Yeah, I think it's reasonable. Yeah, but it's one of those things where like, and look, there can still be a time or a place. I don't have an issue with the cards. I think the premium is unjustifiable given what it actually is, and I'll tell you, Brad, and this is a fact. Listen, one of the ones on ComC, one of the cards that I have like bookmarked, like on ComC, you can add to your watch list. Look, man, one day, Brad, if I'm gonna have the greatest Josh Rosen PC ever, then I need the 2018 Josh Rosen kaboom. I think on ComC it's $65, and I'm like, I'm gonna need that to be a little cheaper. A little bit cheaper, guys. A little bit cheap. Do I have to point you to the couch? That's where Josh Rosen's sitting right now, waiting for the phone to ring. Surprise Carlos doesn't listen to Ted DiBiase podcast. There are way too many wrestling podcasts. Jake the Snake Roberts has one too, actually. It's actually quite good. I listened to a few, but a lot of basically now the thing is all the former wrestlers get podcasts. Jake the Snake Roberts has one. It's decent. I actually think the Jake Roberts one is good. Ted DiBiase, I'm sure, is good, but I have only enough hours in the day to like listen to a certain amount of things, and I already have enough. The other one, Ric Flair has one, where he gripes about everybody. Dutch Mantel has one, but Dutch Mantel actually did booking and stuff, so he's got other stuff to talk about other than just wrestling. He actually did other stuff. Jim Cornette's psychotic, but he's got a podcast that's very popular. He's crazy. Dude's nuts. Eric Bischoff has a podcast. Like, everybody has a podcast. I'm sure Hogan has a podcast somewhere, and I just don't know about it. 3/4 of the dialogue is brother, but I'm sure he has one.
I think, who did I get a call today? I have to call the guy back tomorrow. We have Brian Knobs.
Okay.
From the Nasty Boys, and they want to do like a signing at AMG, and he mentioned Tony Atlas and Bushwhacker Luke may also be coming. So,
okay, yeah.
That'll be kind of fun.
Well, that'll be classic. Okay, so here is on Instagram. I found one of the pictures. So there's the Rock Kaboom. So that's a good pose for the Rock. That's a good one. Yeah, so I suspect I'm curious to see what the first one of those ends up actually selling for. That'll be a curiosity for me. The first couple I'm sure will sell for big money, and the other ones will sell all right. Like at the end of the day, it's still a tough pull, and The Rock is a super popular character, so there's no doubt they'll do all right on that. We'll find out. I'm curious what that's actually going to end up looking like.
I'm wondering. I know he came into the chat. Alex Heisman was at the very beginning. I wonder if he's still in. If you're still listening, just post in the chat. I want to see if his brother bought a cool pack at the Toronto Expo, 55 Bowman baseball.
Oh, okay.
So it came back from PSA, so I didn't know if he picked it up or not.
Nice. Ooh, I like the Hockey is testing on your wrestling knowledge, Brad. Brad, thoughts on Roman Reigns? It's not how you spell Reigns. But I
Yeah,
know what
there
you're
you
saying.
go.
The most over since The Rock and Stone Cold. Brad, what do you know about Roman Reigns?
Yeah, again, being the, I guess I can classify it the ultra modern wrestling. Not really for me. I'm not really into it that much. Obviously, I know Roman Reigns, and but the characters just didn't appeal to me like the guys in the '80s. So I'm still, from a wrestling standpoint, I'm an '80s, '90s guy. I like The Rock more for his Hollywood ventures per se than wrestling. But I mean, he was one of the greatest. Stone Cold was awesome. These are all great characters, but they just don't appeal to me as much now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Uh, I think Roman Reigns has gotten better. Initially, I was very opposed to the way that they decided to present him as a main event guy. But here's the thing: he's been champion now for over 1,000 days. In the modern era, they don't allow anybody to be a champion that long unless they have confidence. And the thing is, he has earned a lot of the confidence they have in him. And I think it's dragged out now about as far as they can go, but they're going to let it drag it out a little bit longer. But here's the thing: Hogan was champion one of his runs for 1,400 days. That's Hogan.
1,400 days.
Yeah, he was champion for comfortably over for 1 point. Yeah, it was like 1,400 days.
Wow, I didn't know. That's a lot. I mean, you'll never obviously see that again, but
Here's the thing: like the beginning of Hogan's run, because I want to say this was his first championship run, the first one, when he beat the Iron Sheik in '84, and then he had it into '88. So like he literally held it for the better part of 4 years. But that was in an era where it was right at the tail end. Like I said, Iron Sheik, Hogan, but right before Iron Sheik beat Bob Backlund, and Bob Backlund is the forgotten dude in a lot of this. Bob Backlund was champion for 6 years. This was the era where like you had the long title reigns. Pedro Morales had a long title reign. Bruno Sammartino was champion for like 2,800 days. It was something ridiculous. It's a record that'll never be broken. But here's the point that I'm trying to make. The point is, in the modern era, for somebody to hold again, it's a story. It's a show. You can make anybody champion you want. You can make them champion as long as you like. You can make them champion for an hour. You can make them champion for 5 years. It's up to you. But at the end of the day, to have somebody in the modern era be champion for more than 1,000 days, he headlined 3 straight WrestleManias as champion in the same title run. That isn't happening again. It just doesn't. There's no reason for them to do it. And in this case, it serves the story they want to tell. They want to make him one of the all-time greats. Well, they did it. And he's part of the Samoan family with The Rock, because everybody in Samoa is part of the same family. So they're all part of the Samoan family. Why doesn't a PSA use recycled materials? Because they hate the planet. But you can discuss it, Hockey 99, in person, and Brad will be happy to tell you why the planet is not worth saving. Come on down. Barry here asks a question. What is everyone's personal opinion on grading one of ones? I like this question. This is a good one. So, opinion on grading one of ones. Brad, what do you think?
yeah, it depends on what you collect. If you collect graded cards and you want your collection to consist of graded cards, then absolutely grade them. I don't think the grade makes that big of a difference. Obviously if it was a 5 or 6, but it also authenticates your card, which again, in the future, I see more and more issues coming in the future with authentication. We're seeing a lot of cards coming through, knockoffs, fakes that are easy for me to detect, or someone that's in the hobby, but it's very difficult. So I think that could be one of the keys as well. But if you collect graded cards, like I like all my cards graded. It's just my personal preference. I like them in the slabs. Feels good.
Mm-hmm. I think what I'll say is this. It is a personal preference thing. It is basically a holder. I don't think it adds value to one of one for me, but it does give you a nice holder to protect the card if you want to do that. It could be for a consistency thing. Maybe you've got a bunch of other graded cards for that collection and you want to put them together, and there you go. You have a consistency with it. It's not a requirement. I'm not against it, but I'm also not going to pay a premium for it. Like, I'm just not. I'm going to look at it. This is a one of one. If I'm interested in the one of one, then I'm interested in the one of one. The fact that it happens to be in the holder is fine. But I also would have no issue sending a couple of mine in if that's what I want them to look like. I want some consistency with the rest of the collection. Why not? I can do that. But I'll open that question up to other folks in the chat if they want to pine in it. But I don't think it's necessary. But I also have no issue with it if somebody wants to.
Yeah, like there's one thing. I was looking at it today as I'm going through all this stuff. But for example, this side, this is my Brad Marchand rookie year collection.
Right.
And I have So this is every card from his rookie year. I'm missing 5.
Okay.
But I got some graded, some are raw. So in that, I'm kind of torn. So now I have them in this box. I have some graded, some not. Do I want to grade them all? I don't really want to grade every one of those cards. So at the same time, I'm not going to take the ones that are graded out. So now I have a collection of, so
Bit of a mix, yeah.
yeah,
It's great.
it's a mixed bag. And you know, there's something I just found. I haven't seen that in a while, but on-card auto of all the Sutter brothers.
Okay.
It's
There you
another
go.
weird thing I decided at one point. I was like, I think I want to put together the Sutter brothers autos. So
There you go. That's kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, Brad. I love projects that are kind of random, that are kind of off the beaten path, are kind of fun. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It could just be like, yeah, I just want to do that. It'd be fun for me. Dave says wasn't back in champ for 5 years, 6 years. And how long was Bruno? And I've got the number for that one. So I was actually almost bang on. Bruno Sammartino held the WWWF. Got to remember, it's three W's. Heavyweight Championship for 7 years, 8 months, and 1 day. 2,803 days, which is the record that will never, ever, ever be broken. Because no one has the patience to sit through a 7-year title reign. But when Bruno was finally beaten, it was a big deal. It was a huge deal because the guy had been champion for over 7 years. And that was from 63 into the 70s. That's when he held the championship. All right. I saw a video this week where someone bought an 89 Topps Harold Baines. I assume it was a PSA 10 for $17. I almost cried. I know. I would have at least paid $17.01. Big time. Harold Baines, man.
I picked that up at the Vancouver show. It's from, Bo Derek, but a PSA 10 for $15.
Look at you being thematic.
Yeah. We talk about it though when it's graded, it's encapsulated. Like that's just cool. I don't know what the pop report is, but that's it. This is my Marchand collection is on one side, and then I've got on the other side is just weird random stuff. Like you go from Bo Derek to the Sutter brothers, and then you got my row of Marchand stuff. So.
Interesting. All right. Well, like I said, you just wait, Brad. You just wait until I start getting that stuff in from Ship My Cars. It's like, let me show you what a Josh Rosen PC looks like. Boom.
I will say Sherry sent me a text message here, and she wants me to make sure I read this out for anyone that's listening to either tonight or after. But
okay.
At some point in the closing remarks, tonight's closing remarks, as many orders come back and invoices are sent out, please ensure to read the whole email you receive. So when we go through that, a lot of people will ask a question and not read the entire email. Mm-hmm. Payment options and how to pay are listed within the invoice email. So when you get your invoice, read it through, and that will tell you how you can pay for your order. Also, ensure that your address listed on your invoice is correct and confirm as soon as possible if it is not, as parcels are sent out quickly, and if there's an error not reported to us beforehand, it causes issues for delay. So it's back to that whole, we send the invoice, make sure you check the address that we're shipping to. We try to get the orders out within 24 hours of us receiving them and payment being received by us. So it does make an issue. And it's kind of, I think this can go back to a little bit of hockey 99s. Like when you deal with the amount of customers that we do have, in order to keep the price, if there's an issue on shipping, like we're dealing with a couple right now, the address is wrong. We call UPS, we have a call back. There's probably going to be an hour and a half work, and it's a 2-card order at the value service.
Right.
So we're spending a couple hours in labor in hours trying to make sure that we get this right for it. And it's very important for us to fix it, but it creates problems on our side as well. So.
Right. Gotcha. Good stuff. Thank you, Sherry, via phone. Have a good night, Hockey 99. Have a good night. But thank you for the question, Barry. I like the question. I actually like when it comes to these because it's more of a philosophical question. It really comes down to the individual collector and what they like. And my thought has always been, I've never gone out of my way to grade one of ones, but I would have no opposition to it. Mostly because I'm just looking at it from a cost perspective. Like I messaged Brad that I'm sending a couple of cards his way from my Brad Favre PC.
Mhm.
But I very specifically chose ones that I wanted to have that done with. I've got a bunch of other ones that are sitting in the box that I'm not going to get graded. I don't want all of them graded, but there's certain ones that I like. It serves a purpose for me to fit to go in the box where I want them there. But you don't have to do it because it is a cost. You're adding a cost to the thing. If you already own the card and you want to put it in one touch and you're happy and it's good, then leave it be. You got it in the top layer, you're happy, leave it be. In this case, those specific ones, I chose 4 cards that I wanted to have set, and that's it. But I've got dozens that I could have if I wanted to, but I chose not to do that. All right. Let me ask you a question then, Brad. Let's kind of open it up to this. So we're a little over an hour, so we'll start winding her down on this one. So kind of a question for you. Out of what you're expecting to come out, what product are you looking forward to?
Again, I would say O-Pee-Chee Platinum, but I just like you, I don't.
I know
really
AEW Metal. I hear you, Brad. I hear you.
Yeah.
But we're all waiting for that. That could be years. A product that we have hope of getting in our lifetime.
So I'm not a metal fan. Anyway,
It's okay. We won't be getting it. So at the rate we're going, we're not getting it. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I don't really know. It's a tough question, I guess. I'm very excited for Upper Deck Series 1.
Okay.
I think there's going to be, I think there'll be some extra little bonuses in there, and I think it'll be a fun product, and the hype will start to build because that's the start of the season. We're in that low point now. Like, yes, we have baseball, and hopefully the Jays can turn things around, but with hockey ended, basketball ended, football's over, we're kind of in this little bit of a lull now. It is hard for me to get excited for hockey products during the summer. So I don't know. And AEW, as much as I love your passion for it, AEW does absolutely nothing for me. So,
well, I think the problem is, look, part of the reason I brought it up and part of the reason I have fun with it is that I chat with a couple of guys on Instagram. We use Instagram DMs. We are in awe. And again, my goal isn't to pick on the Upper Deck guys because I have a lot of respect and I like a lot of the Upper Deck guys. But between AEW itself, and I have my complaints about that, but Upper Deck has also got a hand in this. Between the two of them, I have never seen, and like I'm just being honest with you, I have never seen two companies conspire to absolutely douse hype on a product the way that this one is. You have basically evaporated 99.9% of the hype that would have been available had it released anywhere resembling to on time. Because metal has a lot of fans of it. People like the PMGs. That, like we talk about kabooms. People are into the PMGs. Well, guess what? What is in that product? PMGs, right? But here's the thing. How long ago was it supposed to come out? It was supposed to come out last year. We're in June. And it's been delayed. And look, and it's exacerbated because even though Panini has had its challenges too, getting product out, guess what? Revolution is at least the boxes are in people's possession right now. Somebody was able to pull that kaboom because the box exists. Tomorrow is the official release date. That means that product has been effectively released. That product is at least in circulation. And with the Canadian delay and everything, I expect you'll probably get it next week. And I'll be curious to see what happens with that. And there is still some draw in it. I don't know what the price point is on Revolution. I have no idea. But it should be okay. The last one was a surprise hit for a lot of folks because they found stuff in it that was interesting. You can get autographs from your favorites. The point is, at least the product exists. So if people like it, great. If they don't like it, great. But at least they have it to pull and be able to open and pull stuff out of packs. It's impossible to have a lot of excitement for a product that doesn't exist, Brad. Like, try selling a product that no one can get their hands on.
Yeah,
you can't. So I think, but it's been so long now, Brad, is that I think a lot of the folks that would have been interested are probably moved on. So what I'm legitimately curious about is I'm curious about how many people did pre-orders because they were excited. It was metal. It was going to be all this. Have been waiting so long they actually just cancel the pre-order. They're like, yeah, all right, let me know when it comes out. Give me a call when it comes out and I'll see what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
They were going to get a case. They were going to get half a case or whatever it's going to be. And now at this point, it's like, yeah, I don't even know. Are they going to come out before Christmas, for the holidays? And it's also hurt the other items. It's also hurt the other sets and the other cards. Because now the rest of them are gathering dust because hype's dead. And that's what can happen if somebody doesn't release a product. And to be fair, Upper Deck does this with their hockey product too. We're talking about 21, 22 products. We're not caught up on hockey either. At least the product's getting out, but it's expensive. Look, I watch those breaks, Brad, and there is disappointment. I can hear disappointment in the products that they are releasing, let alone the products they're not releasing. That's just the vibe I'm getting in the room. I don't know what you guys are experiencing, but I feel like I'm sensing disappointment. Not even anger, I'm just saying disappointment, which in some ways is worse.
No, it is. It absolutely is.
Yeah. So that's just
I
something to
don't
keep
know
in mind.
I don't know the answer. Like, I don't know what the fix is to that. It's like, at the end, is it the manufacturers, the distributors, is it us, the collectors, that create this? I mean, at the end of the day, we're buying these products and we're paying. We're buying into breaks, we're buying boxes, we're paying the prices that we kind of dictate. I do think that it has kind of switched now, where now it's coming more from the manufacturers and distributors at a higher price, so they have more control over it. Back, I told those stories, like, I think the days of products coming out and the 10xing for a LCS on a product, those are long gone. And it shouldn't be that much. I'd love to be able to, if from an LCS,
LCS.
LCS, it's good talking about. From that standpoint, if we just had a steady stream of product coming in, and you made your 30 points on it, or 20 points, whatever that number is, and you just always had product, that would be better, right? Than having some products coming in, you double your money, some you lose, some you make 50%. It's all over the map. I think there has to be some sort of normalcy, and then the collectors can also pick the product that they like and know what the price is going to be. I think people are going to be, that love O-Pee-Chee Platinum, are going to be completely shocked, because a lot of people don't realize what it's going to come out at. They're going to come in and they're going to be like, how much for O-Pee-Chee Platinum? You'd be like $275 or whatever that number is going to be for a box. It's like, geez, like, it was my favorite product when it was 120, right? So
It makes a big difference. Like, that's why I say, like, it's the intention here isn't to pile on, but I'm saying you keep piling on different issues. The product that you are releasing is expensive. It feels watered down. It feels expensive for what you're actually getting out of this. Even if you pull a decent hit, it's like barely covering the cost of the box. You have to have a great hit in order to actually feel like you won. If you didn't do that, you feel like you got destroyed. That isn't a good feeling. And I just remember this one. I forgot about. I was going to ask you about this one. What about Fleer Ultra? Ultra is EPAC exclusive. There are no boxes. You're not getting your hands on it. You got to go into EPAC and buy it directly.
Yeah,
What do you think about that product?
Yeah, when's that available now?
It's already available.
It's available now?
I bought one of the Medanos. I got it for the whopping princely sum of 69 cents.
So you bought that through ComC?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. Somebody opened the packs, transferred it over to their ComC account, and because they had one of the old OG Ultra inserts. I want to say it wasn't Scoring Kings. It was something similar. I can tell you. It was, but it was actually, I lucked out. Thankfully for the EPAC product, Upper Deck did me a solid and only put one Medano card in it, and it was a very cheap one. So it was
really? So that's the only Medano card in there?
That is the only card in the entire checklist, and I was like, sweet, fantastic, great. It was Fabulous 50s.
Right.
So here it is, Brad, bask in his glory. Fabulous 50s. Boom. That's it.
There you go.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, so that must, honestly though, that must make you you completed the checklist.
I have completed the checklist, and it cost me. Sorry, I was wrong. 49 cents. It was 49 cents. Victory is mine.
How does, that's a question I'll have for Barry, I guess, at some point. Because I'm thinking someone that you can sell that for 49 cents, but it costs you, or maybe it's only 25 cents to list the card on ComC?
It's 50 cents if you submit, but if you transfer from ComC, it doesn't cost you anything.
But when you sell it,
it's 5%.
And so it doesn't cost you anything for the inject, like to put it in?
No, not if you're transferring over from ComC. No, that's free.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah,
that's great. That's awesome, though. That's awesome for a collector like you. Yeah.
So usually that's where Brad, in a lot of the products that have the EPAC, if it's not like a one of one, people would be wise to wait until EPAC is available. The problem is the delay, right? You got usually a delay. However, if there are some good hits still in EPAC, people pull them. If the market's already cooled off and they bring it over to ComC, you can get deals. You can get some because the people that bought early, the ones that came out of the physical boxes, paid a higher price. But you can get those other ones after the fact. And again, if it's an out of 50, out of 25, whatever, we'll have to move on. But for these ones, no, you can get it super cheap. And because it's free transfer, this person just wanted to get their 49 cents.
Right.
So they just wanted to get something. Dave, yes, we did discuss that, Dave, fairly early on. I gave a couple of high-level points, and but if you want to check back earlier in the broadcast, we did chat about that a little bit. We need more information, but we did talk about it briefly. Graded Cards Collector here says, a hint to pass on to PSA would be a deal for graded cards, pack-pulled autos. If these would be like 27, like the current special, I would have about 65 Gretzky, Lemieux, or... Are you talking about... It's $40 now, which seems expensive since authenticated. That's if you do the authentication. If you just submit it as a graded only, it's the same price.
Correct. Yeah. So only if you want the auto graded is the extra cost, but you can submit those at 27. And you can well, not with those autographs. I was going to say you could go at the under 199 level, but that's not.
The point is that there's no premium. You get whatever the price level is for those ones if you don't ask for the auto grade. And to your point, if it's pack pulled autos, honestly, for me, why? I did in my last order, the one before this one that Brad got and those guys got at the expo, I had some pack pulled autos in it, but I didn't want auto grade. It's already certified. I don't need it's redundant for me to have a second number on the label. So just grade the card. Grade the card, encapsulate the card. That's all I want you to do.
I agree. We have more customers that aren't happy when the card comes back. If your card comes back a 10 and the auto grades, and if the auto grade isn't a 10 on a modern card, then people just get annoyed. We've had more big cards that were 10s with a 9 auto grade, and then they send them back in for a reholder service to get the auto removed. It's just so I recommend most people, if they ask my personal opinion, why bother? Right?
Yeah. It's just specifically for the pack pulled ones, it feels redundant. To me, I don't see any added value to pay extra for something that's already, to your point, that's already an authenticated auto. So I'd agree 100%. But it's fair. I think at the end of the day, it's still good feedback to pass. But I just think PSA takes it from the perspective that if you ask them to do an auto authentication, they'll do it. But you're basically paying them to confirm what somebody already did, which feels like you're just throwing your money away at that point. That's just my opinion.
And I do, yeah. And we love input. We had actually off topic, but we had one of our customers today made something for the spreadsheet. So when you go into the Google Docs now, it actually, like the top headline holds there when you scroll down. So you can see like where it's at in Q2, because I'm doing this no justice to.
So basically you got a frozen pane.
Correct.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. So that when you scroll, you can still see the headers.
Absolutely. That's something so simple that is just so useful. And it was just, he mentioned, hope I'm not stepping out of bounds or anything, but I just thought I'd let you know, you couldn't have this about, I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. This just makes life, pin header.
Yeah, I'm just using the Excel terminology. It's like freeze. I forget what exactly how it's phrased, but it's like a freeze thing. But effectively, it's the same thing. It's so that you can see all the top level. You can pick which level you want it at, and then scrolls, and you can still see all the headings. And then you can just read the one you want to read, and the rest is all good.
Yep. So that was great.
Yeah, freeze pane. Thank you, Barry. Yeah, that's right.
Perfect.
That's exactly right. And thank you for joining in, Barry. I appreciate you.
And we are going to do one thing too that I will, especially people listening tomorrow. At some point, we have a lot of orders that are arriving tomorrow. So I think we're going to pull everything that's in Halifax now off the master. We have 2 tabs. It's the current orders and then completed orders. We're going to pull all the completed orders that are back in Halifax, because those have all been invoiced now. We're going to pull those and put them in the completed, just to clean up the Google Doc, make it a little more easier too. So
nice. All right, let's get the last couple here ones. It was a great tip. I was trying to figure it out. Absolutely. Good stuff. Dave says, Brad, has your store had any kind of a lull the past month? Just asking a few of the local guys here indicated it's been blah last couple months. So how are things going at AMG?
Yeah, definitely. Things start to slow down for sure. we have those certain days we did certain things to promote it. So like we did the dollar per card out of our discount bins. I think we ended up selling over 6,000 total, which again, we're trying to think outside the box now. People just aren't rolling in on every days. Fridays, Saturdays are busy as usual, but you definitely see the lull in a beautiful day. It's 30 degrees outside on a Tuesday. We see it. So it's kind of up for, I talked to the GM, Steve, of the store. I said, you guys got to start thinking outside the box and be creative, right? You be creative on these off days and maybe do some sales on Tuesdays and Wednesdays to move some other product. But there's a lot of product. And I've been preaching this for the last 6 months to a year, even on the Friday night show. I really am worried for a lot of LCSs out there. There's just so much product and there's so much, it requires so much cash flow to keep this going. If you get a couple dead products, things are going to be iffy. I already had a couple people reach out to me to buy some of their allotment for O-Pee-Chee Platinum, which I have not had that happen in the last 3 or 4 years.
Question:
product that's implicated.
Since you brought it up, how's Extended doing? I'm morbidly curious. How's Extended?
Yeah, so I think we are down to. I think we've moved half of it.
Okay.
So that means we have an absolute ton still.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't you have 600 boxes to start?
Yeah, it's hard, and people just look at it and they say, it's. Some people are liking it. I get a lot of I truly appreciate the support that you see from a lot of people. There's a few of my friends that are out there moving the product that aren't even making any money, but they're just helping to move it. So that's great.
Right. Okay, fair enough. No, I appreciate that.
When people ask my opinion, I can't lie. Like they're like, "What do you think of Extended?" I said, "I wish they didn't print it." And I mean, you can BS all you want and say, "Oh, well, there's great things." It's just not. It's just a product that was not needed in the current landscape that we have. And I'm a big Upper Deck guy, lifelong collector. But when there is a product out there, you got to we got to talk about it. We got to say the truth. I mean, hopefully Upper Deck hears that and they don't. I think Extended can go away. 100 young guns per year is plenty.
Right.
Speaking of that, did you remember? Sorry.
Go ahead.
My Uncle Charles said this to me. There's another guy. I always get interested in players that don't have a young gun card. We've talked about this many times. And the Conn Smythe winner this year does not have a young gun.
Oh, it's Marchessault, right?
Marchessault does not have one. Yeah. So he's another guy that's added to our list of hockey players with no young guns.
Have you thought about see this? I got to do Upper Deck's job for them now, guys. So what we need now is we need an inscription set. We love our inscription set. Our various ones are we get Marchessault inscription, and all it says is he signs it and he says, "Suck it, Eric." And only a handful of people will get it, but we will get into a bidding war. we will need to get it. He just needs to sign a handful that way, and it's like that right there, Grail of Grails. All right, real quick. Rod says, sounds like a trade night a week from tomorrow. Sounds like a good lead into the big show. Yep. Good stuff. When is the next trade night? A little over a week away?
Yeah, next Friday night. And they've been absolutely packed, and I hope people do appreciate it. Sometimes it's like, oh, you're putting it on to have a store, packed with people, but you're encouraging people to come into a space for no money to sell and trade their cards. Yeah, it's great exposure, but it's more from our standpoint is the learning experience. Mm-hmm. The amount of younger, I'm not going to say kids, but the amount of younger people that are coming in, it's awesome. And we are going to do some videos of a trade night. Mm-hmm. You'll see them running with their binders back and forth. And it's not like they're just there. They're making deals. And it's awesome to see.
Nice. Bobby says, I like to move it. Nice, Bobby. Nice. Eric is seeing the future. Inscription. Marchessault. You'll get yours, Eric. You'll get yours. Put Marchessault in any Extended. Make it buyable. Well, if you put it in Extended, it would be buyable. So you need something. You need something to make it work. Like I said, we critique because we would like it to be better. That's a situation like, no, we really would like it to be better. Like Brad cannot. Brad's running a business out there. Sherry's running a business. They cannot afford to wait for AEW metal to save them. That ship that will save them is not coming. It's out there at sea somewhere. It's getting lost. I think it's the Bermuda Triangle. Like the struggle is real. Struggle is real, y'all. I don't know. But a pleasure chatting with you as always. Like I said, we know it is the lull of summer, but it is fun to come on here and chat. If there are some things that you would like to discuss and talk about, if you catch it on replay and there's some stuff you'd like to discuss, more general, kind of open-ended topics are fun. Because guess what? If it is a lull and we don't have like a lot of news and stuff, well then let's have a little bit like Barry's question about the one of one. I think that's a great classic question that is always open. That stuff's open-ended. You know, collections of silly stuff that maybe you're working on that's kind of just for fun. Those are great. Those are great topics because collectors like to talk about collecting, and if you offer them that opportunity, what I will do, and we'll talk about this going forward, is for some of the new products as they come out, I would like to look at some of them in a little bit more depth and see if we can establish some opinions because I am watching breaks for this stuff, so I like to see what's out there. Some of it's great, some of it's okay. It just depends. It's always a mixed bag, but we'll incorporate some of that into it as well, and that'll keep it open ended. Otherwise, next time hopefully we'll see Luke from patrolling out there in his car somewhere. And then we'll see if we can get Kevin back in because but to be fair, Brad, I don't want Kevin to come back until he can deliver me cheese stringamon.
There we go. Deal.
Like I feel like it's the least he can do. He owes me this. He owes me this. All right, folks, a pleasure chatting with you as always. If you could hit the like button your way out, we are still charging Eric for it. In fact, since it's summertime, I'm charging him triple. 3x. So pleasure chatting with you all as always. We'll be back next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Same bat time, same bat channel. So good stuff. And then we'll all see you as we go through the rest of the summer. Mid-June. Those of you who are preparing for National, you got about a month and a half. Good luck. We'll chat with you again next time.
See you guys.